Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am so happy to have you, your ear, your wisdom, your time, just everything you're willing to offer in this moment as we are gathering to explore the world that we are living in and the things that we have yet to uncover and the things we are even yet still wishing we had never uncovered, probably. But I have started this podcast for the individuals who have, a bigger, broader perspective on life and that don't always adhere to the everyday norm or just have their particular voice on things and want to be heard, and especially for those that want to hear something that's just different outside of the box. And so for this first couple of episodes, I think I'm going to focus on something that I found to be very important and very vital to our community and our mentality, survival, and ability to live and grow. And I guess you could say it's an actual perspective on how we've grown to adapt to the world we are living in. Either we didn't choose it or it was given to us, however you want to look at it. It is still the life that everyone is having to deal with. So the first topic of discussion or series of discussions will be It Takes a Village. I really, I believe I was really listening to my mom have a discussion with some of my older relatives, and it really dawned on me even more than it has before just how important the roles that everyone has in the village has on the impact that we all get to live and to thrive and just all around be exactly where we're supposed to be in the way we're supposed to be. I don't believe in standards. I don't believe in compartmentalizing people to a specific degree, but I do believe that everyone has a specific role in their community, and in those roles we have an elevation to what we want and expect out of life. So as we go through these segments, we'll be going through, eventually we'll come to a conclusion of understanding what it takes to be able to have the village that we all would love to live and thrive in. So it's my perspective. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily everyone else's, and anyone can have an opinion besides my own. This is my own spiritual beliefs and take on things that I've experienced and just seeing in general. And I'm just hoping that, I can share those things and not feel that there's a discrepancy about the way I'm saying things and, just my overall experience in dealing with these particular things and topics. I don't know what you know about me, but it's okay if you don't know much. But I'm a big observer of the things that go on around me, and I tend to make sure I really, observe and take in what I'm saying. And for the most part, I'll be very quiet and I'll talk a little, but not very much. And I guess I just like to see how things go on their own naturally. And if I do get involved, it's because I think that it will help in having a turning point. In that modest attempt to observe other people, I tend to find that other things show themselves in ways that we didn't expect them to, not in negative ways or anything of that nature. Maybe sometimes it could be, but I don't do it with the intent to find harsh dictations of what's going on. It's more so, silence is golden. Yeah, silence is golden. But needless to say, we'll get into the topic more so because I don't want to waste your time with all the fodder, if I can help it. The beginning of what we're going to speak about is going to mainly concern how the structure of the village is very important, I suppose. So, Where this all came down to was me realizing the role my mom has in each and every one of our lives as the elder and the wisdom keeper, and the person that she is all thanks to my grandmother and her siblings who helped raise her, and my cousins, which are my mom's cousins. Our great aunts and uncles have had a great influence upon everyone, and just to know that a lot of lives have been lost throughout this time period, and just how significant and how immersive these people's position in our lives have been, and just in general, just how we take for granted just those people that kind of hold the pillars of our society and of our existence as a community. So I looked at the conversation that they were having. I don't want to get into too much detail, but I did see that for everything that it was worth, it was just the comfort in knowing that someone else has had the longevity, the experience beyond yourself, to have had these different experiences that may not be your own or may not be exactly like yours, but their experiences have given them a great deal of wisdom and an outlook on life that you may not yet have had, or you may have, or just be another perspective on that particular situation or multiple situations. And just how meaningful that is to a community of people who are in dire need of that particular wisdom that comes from having experience that you may not have yet had. And even if you have some, you have to give the gratitude where it's due. And these people help pave the way for us to get to where we are. And if it had not been for them, we could be in a worse state, or, no state at all. We could be, not existing because they weren't there. So we have to give gratitude to those who come before us. Whether you agree or don't agree with them, they have had a milestone of setting things for you so that you can have what you have even to this day. And I don't have to tell this to everyone. We all can see it. And even if you don't appreciate every single one of them, you know for sure that it is thanks to those who have been in your life as an influence that you are able to do and be who you are. So I want to get into the topic of the elders of the village. They are the most significant piece, if not one of the most significant pieces of the puzzle of our times as people who are in a community. If it's not them, then I can't say how we will be able to get to where we're going. As they say, you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you come from. And it's in knowing that they have the perspectives that they have, that you learn from their experiences. You get to have the opportunity to not make the same mistakes as you would have if you did not have those people in your life. So seeing that these people have come so far, 80, 90 years, 70 years, 50, 60, and myself being of a specific age, I don't have to tell you, but I'm not as advanced as they are in their lifetime, and even yet still, I find some things troubling, and it's a bit daunting just to have had the experiences that some of us may have had. And I give homage to them because, you have to be very strong-willed and capable to allow yourself to go through these things and come out on top, if you will, in whatever way you feel you have. And it doesn't have to be about success and fame or any of those things, but to keep your head on straight and to keep your perspective straight and to keep your light going and not giving up and just thriving in your being as a person, and to not allow those things to flaw you and deter you from being the person that you want to be. You find that is the most incredible power that anyone could ever possess in this world, because time changes so much, and then you have the experiences that people go through that can also alter who you are as a person, and you never know when it changed or just how that happens to someone. And you look at people and you think, wow, I knew you from so many years before, and then now seeing you so many years later, it's not the same thing. And you sometimes forget that, if you're in a ring and you're boxing, to someone that sees a 3-minute fight, it's 3 minutes, but for someone else, it's like a whole like lifetime of punches and blows being taken, and the changes that happen to people are significant. Even in those short periods of time, spans of time, is significant, and we forget just how much damage a person can receive from just having to struggle or go through things that we did not expect to go through. And we have to step back and say, I can't judge your life. And it's not that I was looking to judge anyone's life, but, in general, you find that these things are prolific in everyone else's life in every kind of way. And when you find strength to carry on as a person with dignity and integrity and courage and heart and faith, you find that you're able to see things differently, because if so much can happen to a person in a span of time that you don't know, and they have a light inside them that just won't go away and just won't dissipate, they abide in their strength and their power as a person, you have to kind of admire that. You have to say, wow, I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have been that much more. I wish I could have been that much greater than what I was before. And to come out on top, as you may not say you have, but to someone else, it's like, wow, you came out on top. And it's not about how much money or fame or fortune. It's just about the ability to remain intact, especially with the world being the way that it is. You can lose so much of yourself to the world that's around you, and it's a pity that so many people have lost their mind and their sanity to a world that is so divided, so degraded against itself, that we should all probably have lost our mind. But yet so many people are holding on and making those changes, those different differentiations between what is right and wrong, and what is good and bad, and what's okay and what's not okay, and how to do those certain things that others would not be able to, or even just those things that have you befuddled, if you will, and not even in a good way. And sometimes you just wonder, how could this be? And how do you get through those tough and trying days when you don't have the capacity? That takes character, that takes charm and charisma and so many more things, tenacity and faith. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's the faith that you have in yourself. And if you believe in a higher power, that also helps into who you are as a person. And that just changes things for a person when you have something else that empowers you beyond yourself, and just lets you know that everything can be exactly the way you want it to be if you keep pushing forward. In some people's cases, it may not have been. In other people's cases, it could have been, and it is still going to be, or is working itself out. And that's the part for most people, that they don't know whether it's going to work out. And so it becomes very discouraging and very disheartening to the person that sees the road ahead and doesn't know how they're going to get through it, and how to come through these particular phenomena, stages of their life, or pivotal moments in their life that they can't figure out their next stage or platform, or even the next step for where they're going towards. And if you don't have the right advice, if you don't have the right wisdom keepers around you to steady you and focus you and hone you in the way that you should go, you tend to go off the wrong road. And not everyone is that person, but not everyone is the other person that doesn't need anyone, if you will, and they can do it all on their own. And I'm one of those people that have been able to do it on their own, but I never had to. I've had good people around me. I've had good wisdom keepers and good family members and loved ones, and a creator that cares for me, that lets me know that all the time, regardless of where I am, what I'm going through, or what I've been through. And because of that, that's given me the strength and ability to ascertain the different aspects in life and things that don't have to escape me, as it might have escaped other people in this world. And I'm grateful to have known that I've been able to come through, as some people might even say, a short span of my lifetime, and just adapt and grow and become something more mature and able to stand on my own 2 feet and trust in other people to help me when I can't or couldn't. But even more so, just knowing that I am that person because of the wisdom keepers that have been around me. And that's been the most powerful, most impactful thing that I've had to have. And not everyone gets that. Not everyone gets those amazing characters, those amazing wisdom keepers that keep them. And I think that it has more so to do with the village. They've taken our village from us. They've taken our ability to be a wholesome community, a wholesome people, and they've degraded that to something of a corporate structure. And that's not to say the corporate structure is always bad, but it's more so that they've done it for their own means, their own efforts to fund and feed their own ambiguity. And for most people, if you know where you come from, that just, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well for a number of reasons. But now we look at our community and we say, how far have we fallen? How far have we fallen off where we're coming from, that we are manipulated to give up all of our standards of being, all of our qualities of life and our culture and our reasons of living and thinking and acting to become, I guess you could say, fodder in some manner. And not to say that we are not worthwhile or that we're less. We're just out of our normal element as people. And that has a lot to do with the missing elements of our community. Our village is being taken from what it was supposed to have been. And now we have neighborhoods and none of us know each other. We have strangers next door and none of us come and communicate with one another. We have strangers everywhere. We don't trust each other. Or I don't want to say that we don't trust each other, because I can't speak for each and every individual person, but for the individuals that are clutching their purses and worried about whether they're going to make it to their front door, and these millions of different crazy negative thoughts that we would have never had to be concerned with when we were a real community in our village, in our vicinity, with not even just having to be blood related, just having our community intact. And I don't know what that means for everyone. I do know what that means for me in particularly, and I just know that everyone has had a role, and we'll go through each role as we keep going through this particular series. I just wanted to touch on the immense importance of building and taking care of a village, our community. I don't even want to say community so much because it sounds very brick-like, brick structure-like, and there is a formal flow to things when it comes to having a village. It's just more homey when you hear the word village to me, so I don't really want to get too much onto saying the word community as much as I would like to say village or tribe, which brings the feeling of warmth whenever I say it to myself. It's these elements that have made our ability to live and thrive that much more difficult, because we don't know what those elements were. And when we try to get back or even when we try to come together, we're blocked off from each other from the perspective we've been given. You watch TV and they teach you that the next person is the person that's going to steal your purse. The next person is the person that's going to do A, B, C, and D to you, and yet and still you can't say that person will be that person, because just as much as you might be frightened, or not even frightened, but you might be disturbed or discouraged by the outlook of who might be out there to get you, you aren't the only person. And I think what that creates is the culture of a fearful mentality whenever, just in general, for every person that has to encounter the next person. And that's what breeds the ability to be more hostile towards one another. And that's when we get to a point where we don't have the right necessities as people to live a healthy lifestyle. We are more fearful and fear-mongering than we are hopeful and believing in better things. When we come across with one another, we have an outlook that's been given to us from media and social media, or even just mainly media in general, that these are the kind of people that would do these kind of things, and these are the kind of people that would do these kind of things. And it sucks. It makes it that much more difficult for people to get along and to see each other as people rather than enemies or some dangerous being or creature that's out to get you. And we're not those people. I would say, honestly, most of us are in the most pain and hurt that anyone else might be, and no one else knows it. And because we're in these particular states that we are in, we expect ourselves to be vulnerable to the encourage of other people coming onto each other, or coming onto you to do something that you are just being negative minded about, and it's not necessarily true. We've been given a picture to paint of each other that should not be painted. We have a perspective on each other that is not always valid, and it's not given with reason. It's given to us by media and people that have a tendency to want you to be in fear or fear-mongering, and that's not the mentality that we were given when we were our ancestors, when we were in an actual village. And granted, we can't say for sure whether things were bad or not, because not all of us were there. But when we go back and we listen to the elders and we listen to the stories, and we see other cultures and how they interact with one another who are more close to our ancestors' way of life, that they have had the same problem that that our ancestors had, which was fending for themselves, taking care of themselves, and making sure they have what they need. And it wasn't always about the other person being the person that was the problem. It was just about making sure that they had their necessities. But to be more on point with things, we are out of sync with what we are supposed to be, when we should be more in tune with who we are. We've gotten out of nature. We've gotten out of our altruistic behaviors, where we would take care of the person that comes by that is in need and would use our help and would need our help. It's getting to be that we can't find ourselves in a safe vicinity that is painted as not being safe. And if that's in fact the case, if everyone is in that particular position, I would like to say that, isn't it better that we act the way we want to be treated and would like to have our experiences every single day? It would seem to behoove us to be in those kind of positions, but I mean, that's just me. I mean, you can't expect the worst at every corner. And if we expect the worst at every corner, what kind of world would that be? The world would never be the place we want it to be. I say that with a grain of salt. Not even just a grain of salt. I say a grain of sugar. No, grain of agave syrup. We don't need to be eating sugar as much. But we have to find ourselves back in our village mentality, back into our culture of living as people and not just workers or day-to-day slave mentality that we've been given, which is to drive the numbers, to get the money, to get things going, to keep the economy. Those things are not the most important things. And it creates civilization to some degree and to some people. If we lose our integrity, if we lose our person, if we lose our ability to be who we are, then what do we have that's left over? We have a hollow shell of a being of people. And then we have our existence thwarted by our precise desire to make money. Money never fills us, never ever fills us. Yes, you will have a comfortable life. Yes, you will have so many more things, but in all honesty, you will always be wanting more if you do not fill the void that is there. It is time that we realize what is really needed, and I hope that we come together as people to keep consistently bringing ourselves to a community of people that want to start a village, and to remember that it takes a village. And the community that we build, it can't just be about one person's perspective. It has to be about everyone's perspective, but we all have to give and take. And until we can get to a village, until we can get to that village mentality, until we can get into that functioning of, I want to take care of you, you want to take care of me, and I also need to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And with that, we need to remember where we come from, and that comes with wisdom, that comes with time, that comes with experience and age. And we all have the experiences, and we all have the ability and the capacity to do the things we're able to do, and everyone will have their role and their places in those particular moments. But we have to be open to ourselves being more forthright, if you will, to creating the world we want to live in, and truly just wanted to be in that world where it's open to be people involved. You can't classify everyone into one particular position just because of your perspective or whatever it may be. I'm a different kind of person than the next person. I classify myself as transgender. I classify myself as a copper-skinned person. I classify myself as a spiritual person. I have classifications of my own because I have learned that people desire structure, but those things are just descriptive means of being able to describe to someone else what you do, where you come from, who you are, and where you're going. And I don't think that means that you have to be those particular people, but just that you are, and particularly coming to an understanding of someone else's characteristics and behaviors and patterns and things of that nature. Let's not box each other in. Let's learn to begin to look at who we are as people, and then encourage each other to get into the roles that fit us and that help us to grow and become those people that we're supposed to be. And then we can figure out where we're going and how to get there from the wisdom we get from everyone, and not just our elders, but from everyone's experience. And we can get to where we need to be at in a world that seems to be trying to deter us from getting there. But I don't believe that that's all we are, or that that's all we have to be. So if that is okay with you, it's okay with me. I will let you decide for yourself. Until next time, we will get more into the roles that we'll be talking about individually of the village, the tribal mentality, of the things that need to be done for the village, and how we can get to that place or the position or roles that we're supposed to be in to get to the place we want to be. With no further ado, I thank you for your time. I love you, and I send you many warm blessings and kisses. And yeah, see you soon.